Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast, part of the Bet Rivers Network. We come to you on this Halloween weekend, and that is always significant because it usually marks the halfway point of the NFL regular season. And like I've preached a million times, nothing in the whole calendar year goes as fast as the NFL season does. I mean, it literally feels like we just did week one, and this is week 9. Uh, Election Day Tuesday, that's a story for another day. But um, trade deadline Tuesday, 4 o'clock, and there's some storylines here. The Giants desperately need a wide receiver. They have to get one. Do your work. There's a lot of wide receivers. There's a lot of teams with lousy records. There's a lot of unhappy players out there. Find a wide receiver for this kid. You can't expect this kid to play the rest of this schedule, especially Niners, Bears, Packers, Detroit, Pats, the next 5-6 weeks, and have no weapons. His sidekick, Sundance is gone. Okay. He's on the shelf. I know he's riding around like a speed demon in the Giant camp. Well, that's, listen, we all know what kind of mentality he has, but he suffered a very serious injury. I hope that he can come all the way back. He'll work his rear end off, but he's not there now. And the Giants were built on Dart's talents, Scadaboo's talents, and Scadaboo's just fearlessness and passion that he brought to the game. There's no one there now who's going. Dart's going to miss him immeasurably. He already has. The Giants are going to miss his enthusiasm immeasurably. And now they need to execute, and they need to make some plays. And, you got an interesting story going on with Lawrence and Carl Banks. I mean, Carl Banks is a venerable player. Listen, if you're not old enough to remember Carl Banks was a terrific football player. The problem was his job was to be one of the linebackers who played off the brilliance of Lawrence Taylor. Okay? That's always going to lose you some of the bright lights. But he was a terrific football player, a winning football player, a tough football player, and had many big games for the Giants. And listen, if anything, people have accused Carl of being soft on the Giants through the years. He wasn't soft here. I think he was very fair, and Lawrence's answer left a lot to be desired. Now, maybe that lights a fire under him, we'll see. But hey, when you get paid a lot of money to play the position he plays and the other team runs the ball for almost 300 yards, you're indicted. That's all there is to it. I mean, there's no way around it. So it'll be very interesting to see how that shakes out. The Giants with key guys out in key spots. The Giants now, listen, I'm not knocking the other backs. They'll give their best effort. They're decent players. They're not Scatterboo. We know that. I know they can't get a running back. There aren't enough running backs to go. So many running backs have gone down this year. Just look how many the Chargers have lost. Look how many the Cardinals have lost. There's so many running backs gone down this year that there's a great premium on running backs, which I'll get to in a minute because that's where it gets to with Breece Hall. There are a lot of teams that want to trade for Breece Hall right now. Now, whether or not the Jets will trade him, what is he in their future? What is he thinking about his future plays in because, Hall gets a call or his agent knows that Kansas City's buzzing around. They're going to be pretty excited. He wind up in a Super Bowl this year. Kansas City, Houston, the Chargers. Now, the Chargers, this Vidal has played well in a couple of weeks. The biggest thing there is Alt's back. When they lost Alt, their offensive line completely collapsed. They lost other key guys on the line, one for the season, but Alt is a tremendous talent, and having him back changes their outcome, and now they're running the ball again. I don't know if Hall will be traded. I'd say probably not. I think it's a possibility. But the Giants, I like Waddle. I can't believe you can't pry players away from Miami right now. Maybe after, you know, some soul searching as they get close to the draft, to the trade deadline, and they realize, hey, we don't have much of a season here. We got a lot of work to do. Maybe they start. I mean, there's 3 or 4 of their players that people want. We'll see what happens. That's the interesting part there. I don't see New Orleans trading their wide receivers. They want to give Sluck a chance at quarterback. You're going to take his best wide receiver out from under him? But Dart needs a target. He needs a number 1. Now, I'm not saying he's going to get, Chase. All right. He's not going to get an all-time great here. He's not getting T. Higgins. I understand that. But Waddle would be a very good primary target for him the rest of the season. And he needs one. Because last week he threw a couple of passes that should have been caught. And he's done that every week. And he threw a couple that really could have changed the outcome of that game a little bit last week. Now, nothing would have changed the fact that the Giants were getting decimated on the ground. But they could have moved the ball somewhat better. So it'll be interesting to see if the Giants get a wide receiver by Tuesday. It'll be interesting to see if the Jets make any trades by Tuesday. Buys this week for the Jets, for the Eagles, for the Browns, for the Bucks. Niners and the Giants Sunday. Niners, they're 5-3. They're hanging around. They're trying to find players. They're trying to go out and make a move. They're trying to get a pass rusher. They're trying to solidify things that they are trying to fix because they think they can go to playoffs. Are they the best team? No. They've gotten a good performance out of Jones in place of Purdy. They are really banged up. When you think about what they've lost, losing Warner, losing Bosa, losing I mean, they've lost so many guys. It's hard to keep doing that. And McCaffrey can only be so much Superman. It'll be interesting to see how Dart responds. Home crowd. Off the last 2 weeks. Off the loss of Scatterboo. Whether or not the Giants still have any of that excitement that was around the team, or have they lost all that and these games are going to be a doldrum even with Dart? Nobody questions Dart's future. I don't know if there's a guy anywhere in the NFL who's questioning Dart's future at all. The only question they're asking is it better for Dart to have Dable, or is it better for Dart to get a clean start? That's going to be the question they're going to answer with the rest of the season. Everyone knows Dart's the guy. Everyone knows that. Everyone loves Scatterboo. They have some young players who have stepped to the fore. They've done some things better, okay? But they also have a long way to go. And they still have a lot of season to play. Vikings, they went back and forth. Wentz was going to not play. He was going to play, get surgery, not play. Wentz out for the season. McCarthy back at quarterback. Now they get the Lions. Vikings season's on the brink. You wonder how much they're really kicking themselves for not re-signing Sam Darnold, who's having a terrific season in Seattle and has the Seahawks 5-2. They'll play Sunday night. They do not get the ball to their weapons. And when you have weapons like Cincinnati, when you have weapons like Minnesota and they go underutilized, it festers and permeates through that squad. The squad doesn't run right when those players are not being utilized. That's just the way it is. And they can't get the ball to these guys properly. They really can't. And they do enough wrong to lose games they shouldn't have lost. And now they get the Lions, which is going to be a very, very tough team. I mean, the Lions are in a very good place. They're 5-2. They're solid. They're obviously going to fight the Packers for that division title, but they're both going to the playoffs. Now, players who place a qualifying same-game parlay of at least $10 on eligible NFL or NCAA games will receive one standard entry into the weekly Bet Rivers Squares game. Winning standard squares will be awarded a prize of a $20 bonus bet. See app and website for more details. Also, don't forget the Mike Francesa newsletter. Sign up for the free, and that's the keyword free, Mike Francesa newsletter. You get content, contests, goodies, all different stuff. So go to MikeFrancesAPodcast.com, sign up, give me your email, you're in. Doesn't cost you a cent, and away you go. Now, the Bears and the Bengals should both be ashamed of themselves. The Bears have been given some gifts in recent weeks because they really got some unforced errors. Their defense forced a bunch of turnovers. Their offense has been sporadic. But look at the Washington game. Washington gives the ball up. I mean, unforced error. Just look at the way the Bears have. Now, last week, the Bears figure, oh, no, they're getting Lamar Jackson back. Oh, great, we're going to get him. And instead, they don't, and they still get beat. That's a bad loss. Now, the Bengals, their loss is off the charts. They're up 15 points. They're coming off a win against Pittsburgh. They have a chance to go back to 500, wipe out the bad play Browning gave them after Burrow got hurt. Really see if they could launch the season from 4-4. And they blow a 15-point lead in the fourth quarter to the 0-7 Jets, who were struggling to get first downs. Listen, I probably didn't give the Jets enough credit for their enthusiasm and their offense in that game, but I was horrified from what I saw from Cincinnati. Absolutely horrified. They didn't even try. There were plays that should have gone for 3 yards that went for 30. I mean, they had, other than Hall, they had a bunch of subs on the field. And after the game, I heard people like, oh, Fields, you see, he's not a bad quarterback. He is a bad quarterback. He is a bad quarterback. Against a good defense, he's not going to move the ball at all. He holds the ball too long. He's inaccurate. Against that defense, anybody could play. A high school player could play against that defense. That defense was so bad, gave so little effort. It was like it was immunity or something. I don't know what was going on. Then they couldn't respond after they scored. Flacco got hurt, which was unfortunate. Now it's back to Browning. Flacco's hurt. They said there's a minuscule chance he can play, but not likely. Bengals are going nowhere, and don't be surprised if there's a shakeup there. Panthers 4-4. Looks like they get Bryce Young back off the ankle injury. Packers are 5-1-1. Great game for T-Craft. You know, T-Craft doesn't get enough attention with the other tight ends. You hear about a lot of the tight ends, but you don't hear enough about T-Craft. And T-Craft on a team where none of the wide receivers, even Golden, I was wrong about Golden this year. I thought that Golden and Igwebuka from Tampa would both distinguish themselves as rookies. Down in Tampa, number 2 has. Golden hasn't. He hasn't done anything. And they interchange their wide receivers, but their tight end has become their big play man. And he's not only a guy who catches the ball, he's explosive as heck. And he has become some kind of player. Packers, the defense starting to fit into the slots with Parsons. Parsons is up to 6.5 sacks. I think he's feeling more comfortable. They're a dangerous team. Very dangerous team. There's nothing they can't do. The quarterback can throw the ball. They have speed. They have pass rush. They have a running back who can catch the ball and run the ball inside and out in Jacobs. They're a good team. Chargers are over that hump. They started 3-0, 3 division games. They got decimated by injuries. They went into a tailspin. They've come out of it now. Biggest thing, all coming back, a huge thing for their offensive line. Now they get the Titans, who are just dreadful. So the Chargers are 5-3. Vidal has done really well at running back. They've used like 5 running backs this year. Chargers can't get healthy, but they are getting healthier. Okay. Ward has 5 touchdowns, 6 intercepts. He's been sacked 34 times. That's a lot. Falcons 3-4, Pats 6-2. This is a study about coaching. Coaching and what you have at quarterback. The Pats won a big game against the Bills. It launched their season. May took off. The defense started to get cohesive. Their head coach, who knows his way around championship teams, started to shine and edge the pieces that needed to be just moved a little bit and changed a little bit, and starting to provide the things that make them a contender. They're now 6-2 as they host the Falcons here. Conversely, the Falcons beat the Bills, the biggest game they had won in years and years. What happened off that game? They got embarrassed by the Dolphins. Pence got hurt. Cousins was a no-show. Now they've lost 2 straight games. They're 3-4 going into New England, and I'd be surprised if they win here. Good coaching, bad coaching. Good leadership, bad leadership. Simple as that. Colts 7-1. Steelers 4-3. Steelers had a chance 2 weeks ago to put enough distance between themselves and the Ravens that they would never have to think about them again. They blew that. They blew that with back-to-back losses where they gave up 35 and 33 points. The Steelers gave up 35 and 33 points. The Steelers scoring 30 points and losing. Does the defense now think it can be on holiday because they have a quarterback and get the ball in the end zone? I mean, now they're 4-3. Here come the 7-1 Colts. Taylor is not having a good season. He is having an incredible season. 850 yards rushing, 5.9 per carry. He already has 14 touchdowns halfway through the season. 14 touchdowns. He's on a pace to get 2,400 yards and score just under 30 touchdowns. He could have one of the great seasons of all time. He is explosive. He is consistent. They move the ball every week. Daniels puts up his numbers. Warren puts up his numbers as a brilliant young tight end. Pittman puts up his numbers. The offensive line does its job, and they hang a 30 on every team they play. And if they win this week, only thing left to prove is Kansas City. And that game could be for home field if Kansas City beats Buffalo this week. The other team that could have a say in this is the Broncos. They're 6-2. And they gave a game to Indianapolis. Now, Texans are 3-4. The defense is good. And for the first time in a while, the Texan offense last week had 300 yards passing and 150 yards rushing. They haven't done anything like that in a year and a half. They need to have the offense come out and be consistent. Broncos will be without Surtain, probably for a couple of weeks. Big game. Texans need this game for survival. Broncos need it if they want to make a run at the 1 seed. Interesting game. Jags 4-3, Raiders 2-5. Now, the Jags are a 3-point favorite at the Raiders. I can't tell you how far apart these two teams are. Jaguars have been very inconsistent offensively all year. They've been very disappointed with some of their key personnel. They have forced more turnovers than anybody in the NFL. They've played very good defense, and that's where this game hangs in the balance. The Raiders have no offensive line. What that has meant is that their high-priced, top, high number one pick, who was supposed to be a dynamic force in this league, and I thought he would be this year. I apologize. But I didn't realize the offensive line was going to be this bad under Pete Carroll. I thought Pete would use multiple tight ends. I thought Pete would do things and that Pete would know, hey, I got to spend training camp building a offensive line that can block for this kid. Well, this kid gets hit in the backfield before every play. Almost every yard he has gained this year, and he's averaging 63 yards a game, almost every yard he has gained has been after contact. He gets hit in the backfield. I've watched him. I have him on my fantasy team, and I've watched him. I've been fascinated by him since training camp. I watch him play a lot. He gets hit in the backfield on every play. They don't utilize him in the passing game. I have no idea what Chip Kelly's doing. I really don't. I have no idea what he's doing. The Raiders are dreadful. Geno Smith's having a nightmare. And if you look at the way Jacksonville's played defense this year, and the Raiders have turned the ball over, this is going to be ugly. I'm surprised it's only 3 points. One team is a winning team, not a good team yet. The Raiders are almost a really bad team with just a couple of talented players. They're a bad team, and Geno Smith's having a nightmare year. He's got 7 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. I mean, I can't tell you how disappointed I am with the product the Raiders are putting on the field. Saints 1-7 now make the move to Sluck at quarterback. Remember, Sluck was being mentioned a lot with the Giants, and then we found out how much in love with Dable was. There were guys in the organization that really liked him. He went to, obviously, the Saints. They started Rattler. Now they're going to him. They're 1-7. They've been competitive. I don't see them being competitive with the Rams. The Rams are 2 snaps from being undefeated. They're 5-2, and they're 2 snaps from being undefeated. Stafford has 17 touchdowns and 2 intercepts. They're brilliantly coached. They make better halftime adjustments than anybody in the league. They have as good a wide receiver tandem as you could ever have in Nakua and Adams. Between them, they have 85 catches and like 8 touchdowns. I think the Rams are going to the Super Bowl. Now, I know there's competition. The Lions, the Packers, there's other competition. The Eagles are still competition. All right? I understand that. But I think the Rams are going to be the best team by the time the season ends. In the NFC. I'm not saying they're the best team in the AFC. Now, this game I've been talking about for a couple of weeks. Can't wait for it. Chiefs 5-3. Bills 5-2. When the Chiefs were 2-3 and getting ready to play the Lions, you wouldn't even have thought about this, where the Bills would be underdog in this game, but they are. Why? Because the Bills haven't played well lately. Yeah, they blew out Carolina without its quarterback last week, but they did it with the running game and Carolina mistakes. They didn't do it with Josh Allen. Josh Allen's numbers the last couple of weeks are not good. He has not played well for weeks. Cook is playing brilliantly at 215 yards rushing last week. Chiefs will shut down or at least slow down any running game. Right now, the Chiefs are playing like a juggernaut. Worthy, Rice, rejuvenated Kelsey. They have figured out some of their issues on the offensive line. Bills have already lost Oliver. I don't think their defense is that good. I don't think their passing game is that lethal. I want to see how good the Bills are. I know the Chiefs are good. I don't need to be told the Chiefs are good. Whether the Chiefs win this game or lose this game, this might be the last game the Chiefs lose this year if they lose it. If they don't lose it, they still might not lose another game this year. This team is the best team in the NFL right now. Now they got to stay that way. They got to get inspired play out of some of their veterans who are getting old, like Chris Jones, like Kelsey. But there's something missing with the Bills, and I'll be fascinated to see if the appearance of the Chiefs in their building, national TV, 4:00 in the afternoon, on Halloween weekend, as the calendar turns to the month of decision, as it turns to November, right on November 1st, are the Bills going to show up and play an A game? Are they going to show up and look like a team that you believe can go to the Super Bowl? Right now, I don't see them as that team. That's why I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. Now, I know it's tough to win in Buffalo. And obviously, we all have great respect for Josh Allen. But when I was watching that Atlanta game, I said, either Josh Allen's hurt or something's really weird here. Because he wasn't playing like Josh Allen. He wasn't running like Josh Allen. He wasn't running on plays where you could see that the run was right there. He's not throwing the ball well. He doesn't have a lot of weapons that he can count on. The young receivers haven't been great. He's got Shakir. He's got Kincaid, okay? But he could throw the ball. He doesn't throw it to Cook that much, but he could throw it to the other backs. Cook's a terrific player, but their offense doesn't look lethal. The Chiefs does. Mahomes is having a really good year. Mahomes is doing the things that you expect Mahomes to do. And every game there's going to be 2 or 3 plays Mahomes is going to make where you just say, that's why he's Mahomes. I'm fascinated by this should be a primetime game, but you can't put the Chiefs in primetime every single week. So I understand it's 4:25, but that's fine. This will be to the nation at 4:25 for the most part. There'll be a couple of point-to-point games. This game is terrific. It's one of the great games of the regular season. It's a game that has great meaning, just like Chiefs-Lions did. And if the Chiefs win it, don't be surprised if they don't lose any more games this year. Seattle at Washington, the Sunday night game. This game's on the board and back to being a good game for this reason. Daniels is coming back. Now, Daniels has been banged up. Got a bad hip. Got a bad knee. Coming back again. McLaren's going back out. They've had injuries all year. They have not gotten their offense clicking at any point. They haven't gotten a lot out of their backs. They thought the kid back was going to be very explosive. He's been a fumbler. They haven't been on last year. Last year, Daniels ran the offense like he was Magic Johnson running the vintage Lakers, Pitch it here, toss it there, drop it in here, run for 5 this way. I'll run let's give him a little option this way, okay, let's give him a little roll and a little pitch here to the tight end. It was just masterful. You couldn't stop him on 3rd and short. You couldn't. If he got the 4th and short, he was going to get the first down. He kept the ball for play after play after play, and that's why they went to where they went in the playoffs. He was not good. He was great last year. He hasn't been the same player. He's been beset by injuries. They haven't been the same team. Can they find a little of the magic against Seattle? Let's see. Seattle's 5-2. Sam's having a really good year. 12 touchdowns, 4 intercepts. Smith, it's amazing how many these Ohio State, receivers just come in the league and flourish. But Smith, Nijba, however you say it. Hey, he's got 50 catches. He gets 100 yards every single week. He finds the end zone most weeks. He's become one of the great receivers in the sport. He's become as consistent as any receiver in the sport. He's classy. He's a classy receiver in that It's not all show. It's not all, let me show you I made a great catch. It's not all, let me just draw attention to myself. It's let me run the right route. Let me make the catch and get my feet in bounds on the sideline. Those are the things, you know. And to me, he is that classic receiver. And he's become, without any question, a star week after week after week in this league. Monday night, the Cowboys, Arizona. Arizona's been decimated by injuries. They've gone through so many running backs. They've had so many injuries. The quarterback's been banged up, although Jacoby Brissett's played well in relief. He's actually a really good backup quarterback. Cowboys at 3-4-1. Let's be honest. They have no defense. They have a vintage offense. 2 top of the line wide receivers, a wonderful tight end. All right, an underrated back. Add it all up with Dak having a really big year, and the Cowboys move the ball. Plus, they have the most lethal field goal kicker any of us have ever seen. Atlanta's 2-5. Cowboys are 3-4-1. I think the Cowboys get to 4-4-1. Cowboys are out trying to make defensive trades because they think they can do something in the East this year. Jerry is trying to piece a defense together. Kind of hard to do after you give up Parsons, but he's trying to do that. Their defense has been sieve-like. If they can coach it up, and I think they've done a good job in the coaching staff, because their offense had to carry the day, and their offense has carried the day week after week after week after week. And to me, you have to accentuate the positive. If you're only really good on one side of the ball, well, then don't hurt yourself on the other side of the ball. Get everything you can out of that side of the ball, and then accentuate the other side of the ball. And that's what Dallas is doing this year. They have to do it a little better. They've got to get some turnovers. They got to be able to get some stops in the red zone. They can't give up 35-40. They have to cut this back to high 20s to 30. They can win those games. They're not going to win a game 17-10 this year. That's not who they are. But they have big-time, explosive offensive weapons. They have a quarterback who's playing at an MVP level. They can have a winning season, but I do think they need a little help in the trade market. Now, as we mentioned, the trade deadline is Tuesday at 4. There's already been a couple of trades this week. Nothing earth-shattering, but a couple of trades this week. Let's see what happens. Let's see if the Giants can get a wide receiver. Let's see if Breece Hall is traded. I doubt it. I don't think there'll be – listen, every year somebody writes a story. Oh, Myles Garrett's unhappy. Nobody's trading Myles Garrett. Come on. You don't trade a Myles Garrett. You apologize to him and tell him we'll try to be better, but you don't trade Myles Garrett. That's all there is to it. I mean, come on. You don't even think of trading him. Buys for the Jets, who at least got a win into their bye, which made it a lot better 2 weeks. Eagles are 6-2. That's fine for them. Bucks are 6-2. That's exceptional considering the injuries they've had. And the Browns have really displayed some rookies who can play. Now, I know because it's Shedeur Sanders, they're like, when does he get a chance? When does he get a chance? And the head coach is asked about it all the time. If you listen to the head coach talk, he has no intention of playing Shedeur Sanders. I'm not even sure if this kid gets hurt that he's going to play Sanders. Now, obviously, Flacco's not there anymore, but I really wonder. Now, one question I got asked a couple times this week was, do you think either of the Giant quarterbacks will get traded? I don't. I'll tell you right now, though, if I was Cincinnati, I'd call the Giants and see if I could get Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston, with those receivers, would win what I call a 6-4 game, meaning he'd throw for 350 yards and 3 or 4 scores, but he'd also probably throw 2 to 3 interceptions, maybe a pick six, and the balance would be on the plus side on that team because he will make big play after big play after big play with those wide receivers. Now, if you send him to a team where he doesn't have any wide receivers, you might as well not send them because he's going to force the ball down the field anyway. When you put the ball down the field, the throws he can make, as aggressive as he will be, he will get the ball to their receivers. Their receivers will go up in traffic and catch the ball. They will make plays. I would go get him. I would not get Russell Wilson. I would go get Jameis Winston. He's got a great personality. Is he feast or famine? He's sunshine and rain in the same day. That's what he is. He gives with one hand, he takes away with the other. Mistake-prone quarterback? Absolutely. Home run hitting quarterback? Absolutely. And he'll make the games fun. One thing about him, you'll never be out of a game. There'll be a game you're down 17, he'll win. There'll be a game you're up 14, he'll throw it away. That's just who he is. But I'd rather play with a chance to win than I would with Browning because he got no chance with him. The offense just goes right in the tank. And their offense, when it goes in the tank, those wide receivers, their body language is so bad it permeates through the whole team. It permeates through the whole team. You just heard from Taylor because Rowe probably came in, but on this rainy day. But there are teams where you cannot not feed the talent because it's extremely detrimental to who you are. I mentioned Cincinnati. I mentioned Minnesota. When you have those wide receivers in dry dock and they're like, man, what am I doing here? And they get antsy. They get angry. They get petty. It's just a lot of negativity because all they want to do is see the ball in the air with their name on it. That's it. That's who they are. They want to catch the football. And they want somebody to get it to them. And they'll take care of the rest. And they will. That's who they are. That's who Chase is. That's who Jefferson is. But you got to have a distributor. And Browning's not a distributor. That car is not going to start. Absolutely not going to start. So week 9, have a very happy Halloween. Enjoy Bills and Chiefs, which should be a tremendous game. And be safe this holiday weekend.